Hey guys, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing okay. I'm gonna do another live stream. I've got 9 articles, somewhat pre-prepared. They're all breaking news that all of the articles have been published today. Um, Perhaps one or two have been published yesterday, but they're all very, very new. And I'm gonna read through the majority of the articles. Going to give you a trigger warning. Oh, that was just an audio check, which worked fine. So I'm going to give you a trigger warning. Some of the topics are going to be pretty dark. I'll be honest, all of them are going to be pretty dark. There's going to be a number of murders, mass murders, entire families wiped out. There's a couple of incidences like that. And there's going to be some child murders, some killings of children, which have just occurred over the last couple of days, some trials which have come to a conclusion, sentencing. So we're going to go over 9 topics, all of which are dark. So I'm giving you a trigger warning. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. And yeah, if you are happy to share, that's the most important thing. If you can share to family and friends that are interested in true crime and or live streams, that would be great. It's 9:30 Sunday PM in Sydney, Australia. Perhaps some people come in to say hello. Hello, Donna. So Donna has. Well done. Thank you, Donna. And so perhaps some more people come in. Really appreciate Donna being with me right from the beginning. That's great. If perhaps more people come in, or if you're watching this after the fact, please do, drop a like, drop a comment, just to give me a little bit of support. But in all honesty, I think I'm going to be carrying on even with very little support anyway. But let's get started. So the first article that we see in front of you is in regards to a Miami police officer. His name Damian Colon. So I'll show you a picture of them. Damian Colon. He's been shot in the back of the head by his ex-girlfriend. The girlfriend is this scumbag here. Her name Yesenia Sanchez. And I'll just give you a bit of an overview of the case here. So essentially, I have done a check just a little bit earlier this evening. And as far as we understand, Damien Colon is still alive, but he's in extremely severe condition, extremely critical condition, having been shot at point blank range in the back of the head by his ex-lover, his ex-girlfriend, the scumbag that we showed you a moment ago, Yesenia Sanchez. So they had separated. They're no longer partners, lovers. They're no longer lovers. But there was a incident which is considered a domestic incident which occurred early Friday morning. The police officer in question, Damian Colon, who's a 17-year veteran with the Miami-Dade Police Department, he was shot in the back of the head. What happened was in the morning, early Friday morning, around sunrise, Damian Colon was leaving his home. He was in his truck. All of a sudden, the ex-girlfriend pulled up in her vehicle and blocked his path. So Damian Colon exited the vehicle, and I believe he was walking back to his home. He was just outside of his home. He was walking back. The bitch in question snuck up behind him, pulled out her gun at point blank range, shot him in the back of the head. She fled. She jumped back into her vehicle. She drove. She crashed a car a few miles away, at which point she was apprehended by the officers and she's in police custody, Hialeah police custody, if I understand correctly. Damian Colon, the officer, was taken to hospital. As far as I understand, he's still alive at this point in time. However, I mean, how likely is it that he's going to pull through? We don't know. We hope and pray that he does, but literally shot in the back of the head by his ex-girlfriend. I would think that there's a fairly good chance that he will pass. Of course, we hope, we pray that he does survive, that he does make a full recovery, but full condolences to the family concerned. So that's pretty much what happened here. Here is the premises, the house of Damien Colon, the veteran police officer. Um, Now, there's no GoFundMe because for police officers, I believe it's illegal for them to have a GoFundMe in the event of a serious accident or a death. So there is no GoFundMe. However, I do want to let you know that Damien Colon does have his own website where he sells apparel, clothing, and other items, some cups here. And they seem to be mostly or all Miami-Dade police department orientated. So you might want to check that out. The URL is ucapparelshops.com. And I'll drop that in the chat here. Best wishes, Damien. Yeah, absolutely. And to his family. So I have a sound problem. I've got a sound problem. Is the sound problem still going? I'm gonna read through the majority. Oh, it looks like my sound's okay. I just did a quick sound check. Is my sound okay? All right. Well, I'll carry on. But if you can let me know, Donna, if the sound is okay, that would be great. I'm presuming it is. So let's move on to the next subject. Okay, let's have a look. It was me. Sorry. Yeah. No worries. No worries. No worries. Alrighty. So we're going to move on to the next subject here, and I need to give you a trigger warning. This involved charges of child rape, extremely heinous, extremely disgusting, extremely dark, from this guy here on the left. Okay, so this guy here is called Jared Lisek, and he's the co-founder of an organization called Adventures with Purpose. These guys here, Jared's on the left. So Jared's the co-founder of this group, which is a volunteer diving group. Okay, so a volunteer diving group, what do they do? Well, they're asked by families of people that have gone missing, they're asked to search in bodies of water, so lakes and ponds and such. They're a dive team, and in multiple situations where family members have a missing person in their family that's disappeared and they hold strong concerns, they have asked this team, on a voluntary basis to search a particular area, a body of water, a pond, or a lake. Now, they've been very successful. They have a YouTube channel, apparently is very popular. Adventures with Purpose is the group name. I'm sure the YouTube channel is similar to that. And in any case, what am I saying? What am I saying? Oh, yeah. So they've been involved in 23 successful searches whereby their actions, their diving, and what they've recovered has in part led to the solving of a missing person case. And most recently, most recently, that's been in August of this year, where they were involved in the recovery of missing teenager Keely Rodney. So she was found in a vehicle which was submerged in a particular lake or pond. They recovered the vehicle. They recovered Keely Rodney's body, and that was very well publicized. Now, why are we going through this article? Well, why are we talking about these guys? The reason why is because the co-founder here, again, his name is Jared Lisek, has been charged with 2 counts of child rape. We don't know the name of the victim, naturally so, but this happened or allegedly happened in 1992, and he allegedly raped on 2 occasions the one victim, that victim being 7 years younger than Jared and being a family member. We're not told the relationship, but we are told a family member. We're also told that the 2 incidences of alleged rape occurred in the victim's bedroom at their family home. So my speculation, sheer speculation, could be wrong, is that the victim would be a sibling, a younger sibling, a younger brother, a younger sister, is my speculation. Now, of course, he's not faced a trial yet. These are allegations for which he has been charged on 2 counts of child rape. The victim was aged between 9 and 10 years old. Again, this happened in 1992. So, an historic case, I believe, is how you would describe it. And he's been charged as of Friday. So, it's an historic case. I would hope that I would expect that the police, the authorities, the investigators would only lay down formal charges if they were confident that there would be an adequate prosecutory case. That would be my guess, my assumption. So I'm thinking that the victim does have some opportunity to successfully win a case against him, successfully prosecute him, or lead to the prosecution of him. And if he is guilty, I really do hope that that is the case. I would imagine it's going to be quite difficult. In 1992, the victim was a child aged between 9 and 10. I would think that there's every chance that they won't have adequate amount of evidence to lead to a prosecution. However, as I say, the police have saw fit to formally charge this guy, Jared Lisick, on two counts of child rape. So that's pretty much the information that we have. But I do just want to add that as far as I understand, these guys here, the actual organization, again, they're called Adventures with Purpose, this voluntary dive team with 23 successful cases that they've helped solve of missing people. I've got to applaud these guys. I'm not familiar with them. I've never watched any of their videos or anything along those lines. But presuming that how they present themselves is roughly accurate, that they are legitimately assisting these families in searches of bodies of waters, lakes, and ponds, etc., I have to applaud their actions. I would hope that their popularity, their YouTube, that they themselves as a group are able to continue without this shadow of the allegations, harming them or pulling them down too much. So I would hope that their supporters are able to realize that uh, whether or not this scumbag is guilty, whether or not this scumbag is found guilty and sentenced, the other guys are not involved, one would presume. So, let the group carry on, continue supporting the group, and just ignore the guy, just let the justice system deal with him accordingly. So, those are my comments in regards to that subject. Let's have a look at what Donna says. Donna says, I didn't want to miss and had Twitter on too. So sorry. Yeah, I do have a Twitter account with over 3,000 followers. I'm extremely popular on Twitter, and I will be posting notifications of going live on my Twitter about 15 to 20 minutes beforehand for those that care. Let's move on to the next subject, and it is a tragedy. We're not given too much information here, so this is very much an initial report of an incident which happened late Friday afternoon. So it says here, a woman accused of fatally shooting a toddler and leaving another woman in critical condition late Friday afternoon has surrendered to police. So this happened in North Memphis around 5 p.m. Friday afternoon. Apparently, the two women, the victim and the perpetrator, the two women knew each other. There was a shooting. We don't really know the details of that shooting, but we do know that the suspect fled in her vehicle, which was a gray Infiniti. So she fled the scene. An 18-month-old baby girl was pronounced dead on the scene. So as far as we understand, the 18-month-old was shot and died at the scene. Another woman, I'm guessing, could be completely wrong, but I'm guessing the mother was also shot. We're told that they are currently in critical condition. We don't have any names, so we're not able to double check that. So the woman, the culprit that fled the scene, has seemingly since handed themselves in. Guilt overtook, which is a blessing, I guess. It's a blessing that that person handed themselves in. And let's hope that they get whatever justice they deserve. We don't know the full details at this point in time. We don't know the reasonings for this woman for having fired shots. Maybe there was a reason. Probably not. Probably not. But it could have been an act of self-defense for all we know. But I would say pretty unlikely. It seems that this perpetrator was not injured. We're not told that they were injured. We're just told that an 18-month-old was shot and has died on the scene Friday afternoon around 5 p.m. in North Memphis. And another woman is in critical condition. And again, these two women knew each other. Maybe they were friends, maybe they were relatives, maybe they were family. Anyway, thoughts and prayers to the family concerned. We hope that the woman that's in critical condition does survive, does recover. Condolences to the father and the rest of the family. So we're going to move on to this other tragic situation here, an Australian case, Donna. The body of an 8-year-old boy that was missing since Saturday morning has been found in a pond north of Canberra. So the boy's name, Pranav Vivek Anandan. I'm sure I've got that slightly wrong. Pranav Vivek Anandan. There he is. He's been found in Yarrabee Pond in Gungahlin, north of Canberra. So this is a really tragic situation. So Pranav was reported missing after the bodies of a woman and a young boy, which are believed to be Pranav's mother and brother, were discovered in the pond, Yarrabee Pond, on Saturday morning, if I understand correctly. So his mother and his brother were found deceased in the pond Saturday morning. That alerted the police to declare that Pranav himself was missing, and they held grave concerns for Pranav. They continued to search, the police continued to search the pond, and then around 11 a.m. Sunday, that's today, they discovered Pranav's body. They were able to remove his body from the pond. So this is a story of 3 deaths. The mother and her 2 sons, 2 brothers. The article tells us that it's not believed that there was anybody else involved. It's not believed that there's any threat to the community. So my guess, my speculation would be this would be a murder-suicide or a double murder-suicide. That would be my guess. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it seems to me if the mother and her 2 children were found dead in a pond, seems like a purposeful drowning to me. That would be my guess. Officers found the bodies of the woman, the mother, and the other boy, the brother, on Saturday after witnesses saw them in the water. Investigators later recovered a vehicle from a car park nearby. This led to a urgent search for Pranav in the water and the surrounding bushland. And as we hear, tragically, they found Pranav's body early Sunday morning, earlier today. The cause and manner of the deaths are not yet known. Investigations are still ongoing. If anyone has any information, then do come forward. So this happened, as I say, north of Canberra. And apparently this is a popular recreational area. I mean, it looks like a beautiful spot for people to go for a walk. do a bit of exercise. So it's a popular tourist area. The article does say it is not yet known whether the deaths were accidental. So I guess those are the two options. Accidental deaths, the three of them went for a swim in a pond. I don't buy that. Sorry, I don't buy that. Is this the kind of place you would go for a swim? I don't know. Bit hard to tell. We're not there. Maybe, maybe. Accidental deaths. I mean, why would they go for a swim in this pond if they're not good at swimming? That's there's no tide here. They're not going to be, they're not going to submit to a current or anything. So my take on it would be a double murder suicide. I could be incredibly wrong. Apologies if I am. But I did read through a case last week where in America, a man drove his two children, a 5-year-old boy and a 2-year-old girl, to an adventure park, a theme park. He lied to security. He had no right to enter the theme park. It was closed, I believe. But he lied to security. He was allowed in. He drove close to a pond or close to a lake. He parked the vehicle. He locked his 5-year-old son in the car. He took his 2-year-old daughter to the lake, to the pond, and he attempted to drown his 2-year-old girl. Thankfully, the staff saw what was happening, and they realized what was happening, that something untoward was happening to the 2-year-old girl. So they rushed, they apprehended the man, they saved the 2-year-old girl, and the 2-year-old, the 5-year-old were taken to the hospital. They've since been released to their mother. I'm quite sure they were both, fine. Ultimately, they were fine physically. And the man was arrested. So these things do happen. These murder suicides. I've read a few cases over the last few months of another mother driving purposefully into a lake with her child in the car. There's been a few situations like this. Keely Rodney, that's mentioned in this article here. We don't know the full details, or certainly I don't. I've not followed the Keely Rodney case very closely. I think there's still speculation as to how she ended up, in the car. Why was the car submerged? Murder, suicide, or accident. Those are the options. So, in any case, full condolences to the extended family. We don't know if there's any other siblings involved. Presumably, there's a father, grandparents, perhaps, aunties, uncles, school friends. So, full condolences to the family's school friend. So, for Pranav and his brother, we don't have the brother's name. So, just a tragedy. And I hope a motive is found, so we can just better understand these types of things. But I'm going to move on to the next subject. Where's the dad in regards to Pranav? Yeah. We don't know. So hopefully, I presume there's a dad. Maybe there isn't. Okay, so this is another disgusting tragedy. A man from Florida, this guy here, Chevelle Jordan Jones, 23 years of age. He's in critical condition. He shot himself in the head, but he survived so far. I don't mind if he doesn't survive. That doesn't bother me. In fact, I think it would serve society well if he doesn't survive. Why do I say such a mean thing? Well, that's because authorities say he fatally shot his 29-year-old girlfriend, as well as 3 relatives, female relatives, one of which is a 4-year-old girl. So he's killed 4 people, and then he shot himself in the head. he survived, but as I say, personally, I'm not going to pray for his well-being. The scumbag Chevelle Jordan Jones was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder with a firearm. This happened on Friday morning. Allegedly, he shot a 4th woman related to his girlfriend, and that woman, believed to be the sister, I believe, of the girlfriend. That victim managed to escape to a neighbor's house and call for help. So apparently, this woman who ran to a next door neighbor's house was bleeding, completely covered in blood. Her face was completely covered in blood. So hopefully, we pray for her well-being. We hope that she makes a full recovery physically, but also mentally. She's just had her family killed. I believe her 4 siblings, if I have that right, including a 4-year-old girl. So the scumbag Chevelle Jordan Jones also faces an additional count of first-degree attempted murder in relation to the surviving victim. So this happened at approximately 4 a.m. on Friday. Police responded to a call to a residence in Orange County. A neighbor, the victim that ran to the next door neighbor. That next door neighbor called 911. So the responders came and they found all 4 family members dead from gunshot wounds to the head. We don't know the victims' names, but we do know that they included a 49-year-old woman, which is believed to be the shooter's girlfriend's mother, and 2 of the victims' daughters, so the shooter's girlfriend's siblings. And the 4-year-old is believed to be the victim's mother's granddaughter. The woman that survived the shooting was another daughter of the 49-year-old victim and the mother of the 4-year-old victim. So that's terrible. She's lost her child. She's lost her 4-year-old baby because of her sister's boyfriend. Okay, so the surviving victim's other 2 children, a 6-year-old and the 4-year-old's twin sister, thankfully they survived. They were discovered inside the home, hid under blankets, and they were unharmed. So there's a blessing. There's a blessing. The 2 of the children survived unharmed, but of course, one of the twins, a 4-year-old girl, was killed, shot in the head. All of the victims were shot in the head. The scumbag shooter was also found at the scene. He was alive after suffering what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. He was taken to hospital. It's unclear as to whether or not he will survive. I hope he doesn't. So as far as we know, there was an argument between the scumbag shooter and the girlfriend. He was packing some belongings. He decided to move out of the house by the look of it. And then all of a sudden, he walked back into the house and began shooting. Apparently, this guy does not have a criminal history, certainly not a criminal history of being violent. That's what the article is telling us. He has no criminal history other than a failure to appear for a misdemeanor charge. So this is not. This is out of character, apparently. The shooter's sister said that she can't believe it. And here's a quote: "I understand he was drunk and whatever, but still, a kid. He's not this type of kid. He's not. He's always smiling. He's always at the house with family. He's always chilling. playing games with us. I just don't understand. So those are some comments from the shooter's sister. I mean, should I read through such things? Is that relevant that his sister thinks he's a good guy? I think it is relevant. I think it is because, I mean, it does seem that a lot of these murders are coming at a point that people are just snapping. You know, they're snapping. One minute they're perfectly fine, they're law abiding citizens, they're minding their own business. And then there's this snap. They turn from Jekyll to Hyde, if I have that the right way round. And why is that? Why is that happening? Now, if it was a career criminal, if this was somebody with a violent history, an out and out psychopath, and this was just another violent incident, an escalation of previous violence, to me, that would be more comprehensible. I'd be able to understand that more easily. But yeah, this sudden snapping, these changes. I mean, is it that the sister's just wrong and that this guy is an absolute psychopath and always has been, or I don't know. I mean, that he was leaving the house. Okay, they were having an argument. Partners have arguments all the time. My next door neighbors had an argument 20 minutes ago. Happens all the time. He's moving out. He's packed his bags. He's leaving. Okay, that's fine. These things happen. Bit dramatic, but whatever. And then he goes in and shoots 4 people dead, including a 4-year-old girl, as his sister states. I mean, that's got to be insanity. How can you look at a child and go, "Yeah, I'm going to take your life"? I mean, that goes beyond anger, doesn't it? Even hardened criminals wouldn't do that. And yet this 23-year-old managed to do that. Managed to sink to the depths of human depravity. Of course, full condolences to the remainder of the family. I don't know of any GoFundMe. The details of the victims haven't been released at this point. I would think these guys would deserve, some support to cover funeral costs and what have you. Full condolences to the remaining twin, the 4-year-old and the 6-year-old sibling. I hope and pray that the woman that was shot and survived, she was covered in blood. We're not told where she was shot, but it would make sense that she was shot in the head. Let's hope she does survive. Let's hope that victim does survive and is able to make a full recovery and is able to continue to be a mother to her 2 remaining children. And of course, all of the extended family beyond the victims, full condolences to them, their husbands, their boyfriends, their other siblings, their workmates, their everything. Completely shattered by one man, one scumbag. I'm going to say this, it's a little bit flippant, but who threw an almighty hissy fit. How long did this incident go on for? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes? Maybe 2 minutes. You know, all of these lives shattered and taken away because of the irrational actions which lasted just a few moments, probably. A very, very similar incident happened here in Maryland. A boyfriend kills 5 in a Maryland home, including the ex-girlfriend, and I'm going to say, thankfully, himself. So again, we don't have too many details. This is somewhat of an initial report, so I'll read through the full details. A Maryland man came home from work Friday afternoon to the gruesome sight of his wife, his daughter, his son, and 2 other men shot dead in his home. The shooter, Andres Sales, 28 years of age, is believed to have entered the home and killed his ex-girlfriend. His ex-girlfriend being 21-year-old Sarah Mann. The scumbag shooter also killed his ex-girlfriend's brother, Kai Mann, as well as their 48-year-old mother, Somali Mann. And another man, 23-year-old Javon Watson. So the poor man comes home, his wife, his daughter, his son, another man, Javon Watson, and the killer are all dead. Apparently, having shot the 4 victims, the scumbag Andres Sales shot himself with a handgun that was found in the house. Thankfully, 2 young children who were initially unaccounted for have been found safe at another location. So there's a blessing that those two children weren't at the home. They were somewhere else, completely separate, completely safe, completely unharmed. Apparently, police have visited the family home, several times due to family arguments between the scumbag shooter as well as his ex-girlfriend and as well as the ex-girlfriend's mother. So this guy was an asshole, essentially, and has turned out to be an absolute psycho. Killed 4 people for what? Over an argument. Just disgusting. Oops. Going to go through this next article, which is quite harrowing. So I'm going to give you a trigger warning. This guy is called Michael Valver. He's an ex-cop, and he's been found guilty on 1 count of second-degree murder in relation to the death of his son, Thomas Valver, 8 years of age. The scumbag father, ex-NYPD police officer, 43 years of age, forced both his 8-year-old son, Thomas Valver, as well as Thomas's 10-year-old brother. He forced them both to sleep on a concrete floor in the garage, unheated, after they'd both been hosed down with freezing water. This happened in the middle of winter. Thankfully, he's been found guilty of second-degree murder. In addition, he's been found guilty of 4 counts of endangering the welfare of a child. And tragically, Thomas Valver died January the 20th of the year 2000. Is that right? Or is that an error? I'm thinking that's an error. So I'm not sure of the date. That's not correct, though. So Thomas died after going into cardiac arrest brought on by hypothermia. His body temperature was reportedly only 76 degrees when he arrived at hospital. The scumbag father's former fiancée, her name Angela Polina, was also charged with 1 count each of second-degree murder and 1 count of child endangerment in regards to Thomas Valver's death. The father initially claimed that Thomas fell, which led to the injuries, which led to his death. Police did not believe that. Prosecutors said that Thomas and his brother had been locked in the garage without heat for approximately 16 hours before before Thomas succumbed to the brutal conditions, before he died due to the cold. There's evidence that the father physically, verbally, and emotionally abused both boys for months prior to Thomas's death. They were intentionally starved, and they were seen literally eating crumbs off of the floor at school. So the scumbag father has been found guilty of 1 count of second-degree murder, and he's going to be sentenced minimum 25 years, maximum life in prison. So I'm going to say try to book in life in prison. He killed his 8-year-old son. He subjected his 10-year-old son to the same punishment: starvation, beatings, torture. How does he not deserve life in jail? Where's the argument there? There is no argument. Just give him life in jail. He's been found guilty. He's had his opportunity. He's been in front of a court. He's had his trial. He's been in front of a jury. And they found him guilty. Plenty of evidence. He tried to lie. He said that Thomas fell, which caused the injuries, which led to his death. Bullshit. The medical examiners are able to identify the cause of death. So there we go. So the other children involved have been removed from his custody, obviously. So those details there. I just hope he gets a life sentence with no parole. I'm going to move on to the next subject. These are all new articles, by the way, so meaning that these are mostly incidences which happened very recently. This one, I'm not quite sure when this one happened. The information within the article seems incorrect in regards to when Thomas Valver died, but the others are very recent incidences. So my point is that so many of these situations happen. This is 9 articles I'm going through just from today. These are all articles that came out today. So this next subject is in regards to the murder of a 19-year-old boy shot to death by a 13-year-old. A 15-year-old drove a getaway car, but between the two of them, they killed a 19-year-old. They're both being charged with murder. The 13-year-old, who is believed to be the shooter, is going to be tried as a juvenile. The 15-year-old will be charged as an adult. Why did this happen? Well, because the victim, 19-year-old Alan Reed, he made a rap song, a rap verse, and apparently there was something stated within that rap verse that these two young scumbags took offense to. So they took it upon themselves to barge into his parents' house, barge past the mother, demand for Alan Reed, the 19-year-old, to, show himself or such. The mother fled the scene, and the 13-year-old allegedly shot Alan Reed multiple times and then fled the scene. So this happened. They planned the murder after the victim filmed a rap video in the wake of another young man's death. So I'm a hypocrite. I follow rap music, I follow hip hop music, I follow Chicago drill music. Lil Durk springs to mind, and a lot of the rap artists, they in their lyrics they talk about murders that they've committed, and they do so as a pardon my French, a fuck you, a fingers up to their ops, to their rival gang members. You know, they do it to insult their rival gang members. I killed your buddy. I killed your gang member, your fellow gangbanger. We killed him. They make fun of it in their rap lyrics. They make fun of the murders that they commit. So perhaps that's what happened here, that the victim filmed a rap video in the wake of another young man's death. Perhaps that was making fun of somebody else that was a part of the gang that this 13-year-old and the 15-year-old were a part of. So, as I say, the gunman barged into the house. They started searching the house. The victim emerged from a bedroom. There were multiple gunshots. The gunman then ran past the mother, and they disappeared. The victim remained dying inside the home. Apparently, he was shot 9 times. And apparently, allegedly, it was the 13-year-old that did the shooting. That's a picture of the 15-year-old, Carmelo Wells. So we don't know the name of the 13-year-old. They're being protected. They're a murderer. They shot somebody 9 times. That person died in their own home. It was a planned murder at the hands of a 13-year-old. But the justice system is such that that 13-year-old is going to be protected from the public. Their details are going to be withheld, and they're going to be tried as a juvenile. I don't know the full repercussions of that, but I would imagine that means that as and when they're found guilty, that they'll be sentenced to a lesser amount of years in jail, and it won't be jail. They'll be sent to a juvenile detention center, which will not be as harsh as a jail. So to a large extent, this 13-year-old murderer is going to get away with it. To a large extent, in my opinion. Which I do not think is right. So I'm going to move on to this last subject. And thank you, Donna, very much for sticking around. Really appreciate that. Again, if anyone else is watching this after the fact, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. But we're going to go through this one. It's a very sad story in regards to suicide. So it involves the boy that you see in front of you. He's Italian, and he went to an American-based, New York-based boarding school called EF Academy, an international boarding school in Thornwood, New York. Tuition costs more than $66,000 per year. And the boy concerned, Claudio Mandia, committed suicide. He hung himself at the academy. So I'm not going to go through the full details, but I'll give you a thorough overview. So essentially, Claudio Mandia cheated in some exams. He copied off a friend. Why did he do that? Well, he's from Italy, and during the whole COVID fiasco, he had multiple family members suffer from COVID. With the worry of all of that and the demands that that took, he fell back in his studies. So he had fallen behind. He wanted to catch up, and he did the wrong thing. He copied from a friend. He cheated on a math assignment. He was caught, and he was expelled from participating in the school, in the academy. He was expelled. Now, during that period, he was forced into solitary confinement in his dorm. I don't know the full details, but in his dorm room, he was he was sentenced or such to solitary confinement. He wasn't allowed to have any friends. The boy grew up in Italy. His family is in Italy. He wasn't allowed access to any of his family. So he was alone, being expelled, humiliated for doing the wrong thing, sure. But this is a young man that made a mistake and he's been vilified to this extent whereby he's not allowed to have any contact with any of his friends, none of the teachers, nobody. Kept in solitary confinement, had to stay alone in his room. So his family have enacted a lawsuit where there's numerous allegations against the school, including wrongful death, false imprisonment, negligence, and emotional distress. So, in essence, the family, the lawsuit is stating, I'm going to say this in a not correct way, so bear with me, but they're basically arguing that the academy, EF Academy, mistreated him severely, and when he was in a very vulnerable, emotionally distressed state, um, by subjecting him to solitary confinement, malnourishing him, giving him inadequate supervision, and telling him shocking news that he would be expelled. From this, the 17-year-old Claudio Mandia took it upon himself to end his own life. Apparently, he was screaming and cried whilst he was in solitary confinement, but nobody cared. Nobody came to his comfort. Nobody came to his assistance. The parents begged for the academy to rescind the punishment so that the boy wasn't in isolation, but the academy refused. Apparently, staff at the academy saw marks around his neck indicative of an earlier suicide attempt, but they didn't do anything to intervene. Claudio's sister was at the school. She was also enrolled at the school, and she begged the staff to check on her older brother. When they did, they found him dead. He had committed suicide. He hung himself. So that's a bit of a different case, different article than I normally go over. Not 100% sure if it was a crime. Can't say that for 100% sure. But it's just a very, very sad state, and one that I can relate to a little bit. I had a hard time at university. I'm not going to go into the full details, but it's pretty tough at university. You're away from home. You're on this new venture, academic venture, which not everyone succeeds at. Not everyone finds to be a breeze. You're with new people. Not everyone is able to make friends that easily. It can be a very lonely, very stressful time. And this young man did the wrong thing. He cheated. And for that, he was severely punished. Like mentally, in my mind, mentally, not given enough due care for his age, for his mental well-being. He needed support. We all need support. He's away from home. His sister's at the same school, but she's denied access to him by the look of it. Forced into solitary confinement, apparently subjected to malnourishment. Such a shame. So I'm going to wrap things up here, guys. full condolences to the family. I don't know whether or not the lawsuit is appropriate. I don't know if they're going to win or anything. I've got no idea. But it does seem to me that it's such a shame, and I would have liked to have seen, well, for anything for this not to have happened, for the young boy to be given the support that he needed at the time, to realize that this, ultimately in life, we are on a boat. We are on a boat in life, and sometimes the waves are very rocky, and we're bounced around in that boat, and it can feel dreadful. But then we have beautiful days where the sun shines and it's nice and calm. So we just have to hold tight through those rocky periods and then just wait for things to settle, and then we can move on with our lives. We all face issues of various kinds. We all embarrass ourselves in a multitude of ways. We all let ourselves down. And we do have to forgive ourselves, and yeah, just allow ourselves to be, and just find better places. And it's a shame that this 17-year-old denied himself that leeway. He's taken his own life. Such a shame. Are the school to blame? Is the school to blame? I'm not going to say yes or no, because that's probably not a sensible thing to do. But it does seem like there was room to be more empathetic, more supportive to this young man. So full condolences to Claudio's family. The article wraps up by mentioning the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which, of course, anyone that has suicidal thoughts, they should get into contact with. So I'm going to wrap things up at this point, guys. Appreciate Donna for sticking around. If anyone else watches this after the fact, again, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. I'm going to be trying to make very regular live streams, perhaps not every day. Perhaps I won't even schedule them, but I'm going to be pretty consistent. And, sometimes they'll be very interesting, and perhaps other times they won't be. It is what it is. And frankly, I'm just going to carry on regardless, because I'm quite enjoying doing the channel, making the videos, and I think I do quite a good job. And I think that things will just improve as I go forward. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Anyway, thanks, guys. Take care. Bye now.